Yes. The have gone nuts. So when I was coming here on the way, I was thinking what this food platter might think of itself. Whether they are going to be salad or they are going to be beans. And I think this is a place where we all have been when we are thinking that whether we are going to be salad or we are going to be beans. And I have an answer that maybe when you look out for bazaar, you can solve that question of salad and beans. So how did I get to this point? I was a huge fan of Pink Floyd. I still am. And Pink Floyd is not just a band. They don't only make music, they design experiences. So if you've known their songs, they have singing dogs, they have a soundscape of bells and clocks. They have an entire album based on a mythical character in times of war. And they have this unusual ability of telling stories and creating a lot of drama. Even their album art was just brilliant. This is from their album called Dark Side of the Moon. And what I used to do is I used to dissect those songs, those album arts, and probably my brain tilted towards a more creative side because I'm technically a Gujarati Baniya. And the love for music started with Pink Floyd. I used to follow a lot of bands, and these are all legendary bands. But one thing I noticed about these bands is it was kind of a monopoly of the instruments. They all use drums, bass, keyboards, and guitars. Like you take any band, but they will only have these four instruments as their main source of expression. And that kind of bothered me all the time. It's like having dal, sabzi, roti, chawal every day when you have the option of a buffet. There are thousands of musical instruments across the world. And I was a little surprised why these bands didn't explore much of these sounds. They created legendary music, but then I decided that probably when I become a musician, I'm gonna change things a little bit for myself and try to explore these new sounds. That led to the foundation of Maati Baani with my wife Nirali. So Maati Baani is where the rarest traditions, cultures, languages, fashion, and textures of these folk traditions come together. The vision of Maati Baani is mainly collaboration, but also to promote folk and classical music in the new age generation and the Gen Z audiences like you. And that led to the foundation of Maati Baani, and we thought that we'll make some songs which is based on the vision that we created. So here we have this vision, and then we started with this song called Balma, and I and Nirali recorded my parts. And then we wanted this song to be based on the French gypsy jazz style. Now, we started looking for musicians in Mumbai and in India, and out of sheer disappointment, 3 months down the line, we had nothing. We couldn't find anyone. And this is in 2012. This is like almost 10 years ago. Then we thought, why don't we ask musicians across the world to be a part of this song? And that's how I started writing to them and convincing them to be a part of the music, and also telling them that, hey, you need to understand our concept first, then you need to record your song, then you need to shoot your song. So that was too much 10 years ago for a musician, and most of these musicians were like street musicians, and so they had no clue of what was happening. So we used to teach them, they would send these files which they used to record on a laptop webcam, and we had to literally tell them, you need to hire a DOP, we'll help you with that, but please shoot in locations which are culturally relevant to your countries. That's how our first song, Balma, came together in 2012. We used visions of different countries, and you can see this gentleman playing the trumpet. First he sent a file using a webcam. He straight away went to the La Mancha windmills, which are mentioned in the Don Quixote book, and we recorded accordion, gypsy jazz, clarinet, sitar, and specialized musicians who play gypsy jazz. And we realized that it was so much fun involving these musicians and making them understand this concept and giving them the idea and the direction to do what they wanted to do. After this song, we did a lot of collaborations, including a virtual collaboration with Pakistan and many other countries, more than 15 other countries. But they were missing out on the local Indian flavor. We wanted to actually find musicians who were not discovered yet. And because we had this vision that, let's do something now, we went unplanned and did a road trip to Kutch. So this was our first road trip, and we had no expectations, but we met the best musicians that you can see in the country, and songs that we did here are our most popular numbers. So these 7 days, we, I think, recorded more than 10 artists. We met a rickshawala who is one of the best algoza players of the country. We met Muralala Marwada, who is right now a household name, and he was just playing, that's his home, by the way. We met the Sarpanch. The Sarpanch became my friend, and when I told him that you have to play some rhythm, he got 2 instruments, a ghada and a ghamera. These are basically things for storing wheat and making those atta breads. He's playing those, and he just used this as the main instrument. And that's the beauty of the village. They transform things into something else. We met these lovely women, and to our surprise, they'd never been out of the village. And you are always welcome to come and perform with us in Bombay, and they were so excited. And look at the fashion. We never directed them, but this is what they wore for the songs. So we can see that there is a flow of design in their lives which was just unimaginable for us. Through rotoscopic animation and a really funky soundtrack, we are able to achieve these songs and try to present a slice of a village life which the city people would like to fantasize. Moving from that, this constant question of what now disturbed me, and I needed a new dose of bizarre to wake me up. So on my trip to Brussels, I visited a museum that completely changed my life philosophy. It's called the Music Instruments Museum in Brussels. And this museum features some of the most rare and bizarre instruments ever created. Most of these instruments are hundreds of years old. And to see them in their actual form, somebody designed this cello inspired by Dali. And there's an instrument called the hurdy-gurdy, which is from France. And the way it was played was so bizarre. That's a glass harmonica uh, designed by Benjamin Franklin. So there was a story that was told in the museum that these villagers used to play these bowls, fill it with water, and used to play them. So it made the sound. And when Benjamin Franklin saw that, he took them and overnight he created this instrument where he put them vertically so they can only do this. And this could be turned with the feet. So visiting this museum completely blew my mind, and it's like I found a treasure. I was jotting down all these instruments, and my dream was to find people who play these so that I can introduce them in the music. This led to this beautiful series called Music Yantra, which was a completely online series focused on rare instruments and rare innovators of musical instruments. The first person I found looking for like literally rare instruments played in New York. I found Natalia Peruz, who plays a glass, literally a carpenter's saw, and she plays it with a violin bow, and it sounds like somebody singing an opera. You have to hear it to believe it. And when she used to play this, the people used to be terrified and they like, where is this sound coming from? They couldn't believe that the sound is coming from this instrument. We designed a song which was completely based in the subways of New York and used musicians who actually play in the subways. So we recorded them all playing in the subways, and we also introduced a dance form called light feet, which was quite new at that time, where it's a mix of hip hop, break dancing with cap tricks. So they used to fling a cap up and then it used to land on the head. So it was quite bizarre. We received a lot of attention because of this song. The next song so this is interesting. I found a guy who was playing a carrot clarinet. So he used to just make a clarinet after his carrots. And I approached him and he's like, what do you want? I have everything. I have test tube bass, I have carrots, all kind of vegetables. You tell me and I'll make an instrument from there. And for me it was so exciting because rarely you see such people who are out of their comfort and doing these innovative things with music. So here he's playing a surgical glove. He's made a bagpipe out of a surgical glove. He's playing a clarinet and he's using the flask or paniwala just to make it sound louder. There's an instrument for bass that we use. It's called the thongophone. And this gentleman here is from Saudi Arabia, and he was taught Marwadi, and he sang a popular Rajasthani number on this. We mashed all of these in green screen. So this was shot across Saudi Arabia, Australia, India in green screen in different places, and then we used the ikat textile imagery for the backgrounds. Then came this, the biggest collaboration that I've done yet. I used to see all these child prodigies who would really make me nervous. Like a four-year-old kid playing Bach and Beethoven. I'm like, what are we here for then? If these 4-year kids can play such phenomenal music, I thought, why don't we get 15 kids like this in one song and pay a tribute to Michael Jackson? So we did this song called Heal the World, and I also found some really bizarre musicians, child prodigies. So the song starts with a guy playing a washing machine in a parking lot. That forms the main rhythm. Then it goes to tap dancing. There are a famous child prodigy from Russia. She's playing the harp. Then we had a rapper and lots of instruments. The singers here who were in this song, they later on became popular and they won America's Got Talent, they appeared on Ellen show. This song blew, and we had 10 million views in one day. And it was tweeted by almost every Hollywood personality. It was trending in the US for a week. And we can play here after. Sure. And the musicians that were involved, they were from different continents, like from Africa, from Asia, and from America. And what we achieved in this song was 150 people coming together online without meeting and putting in their efforts to like book studios, book cinematographers, videographers, and creating this amazing music. And this is all where it happened. This was the place, this was my studio. So technically I've traveled across the world, but this is my seat. During the pandemic, again, we wanted to try something else, and we approached musicians from Iran and to get the Persian slice of music. And they also play some really bizarre instruments. This is the bagpipe from Iran, and these instruments are literally unknown. And we sang a Kabir song, and they played on that. We also, looking at the museum that I've seen, the instrument, the French instrument called hurdy-gurdy, I was like blown away by that. So I found artists from Poland who plays the same instrument. And there was a lot of mariachi music with their hats on from Mexico, and some unique tap dancing from some world champions in Ukraine. So this was shot just 2 months before the war broke out. And then I came to know that they had bombarded this entire fort in Odessa. So, after all this, there is a question that now what? I mean, what are you going to do? And then I found this passion of going to iconic cities and reviving iconic songs. So I would just go out with a backpack, my camera, my recorder, and one mic. And I used to just surrender to the unexpected. I had no clue whom I was going to meet. I used to go into subways, in parks, and my most famous place to visit was abandoned places. So especially in Berlin, I found this abandoned airport. It sounds also bizarre. The entire airport was abandoned, now it's used for a park. A spice station, some junkyard places with ready-made cars and graffiti and stuff. So I used to find these musicians and tell them, let's record on these places. There's this gentleman from Prague playing a glass harp. So looking at these visuals, to find places and explore the aesthetics of the city gave me a lot of joy and comfort. And the vision was to go unexpected without any preparation and find talents. So what did I get from all this? The one thing I cherish the most is the look on the faces of the people. The look of wonder and joy when they are seeing these musicians perform, because they have never seen that instrument before and they are just stopping by and just listening to them, is one beautiful thing I take from all of my journey. And what is bizarre? Bizarre is basically when you miss out. The bizarre is when you are not looking properly and you are focusing on the ordinary. It's something that's always been there. There is a comfort and there is a great high in getting lost. And whenever you go out and see the street musicians, just stand by and look at their performance. Try to find unusual places to go to, abandoned places, weird museums, and you will find that spark of desire. Because the more you surrender to the unexpected is when you will fall in love with the desire. Thank you.